Yo, what is up, guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So, Callum Smith against Canelo Alvarez. Did he lay down? I asked the question before this fight whether he would do or not, due to, the build up to this fight, the circumstances surrounding it, Callum Smith's performances leading into this fight, etc., etc. There were a few people who were questioning Callum Smith going into this fight. Funnily enough, a lot of the people who did question this fight going into it, or question Callum Smith, a lot of those people were labelled as haters, yet, the people who questioned this fight got it basically spot on. To me, Callum Smith in this fight was largely disappointing. He never imposed himself. He never utilised his height and reach advantage. He never utilised his superior size or anything like that. Nothing of the sort. He never imposed himself on this fight whatsoever. And, it is worth saying that Callum Smith picked up an arm injury in this fight to his left arm. And obviously that's not going to help his cause in this fight. But, he said in a post-fight interview, I believe it was with Seconds Out or like Boxing Social, one of these outlets. And Callum Smith said that arm injury, it took away his check left hook, which is one of his best punches, but it never took away his jab. He said that. Okay, so bear that in mind. Where was Callum Smith's jab in this fight? If the injury never took it away, where was the jab from Callum Smith in this fight? You've got like an 8-inch reach advantage over Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, as good as he is, he's never been great at cutting off a ring. He's never really had the quickest feet. Why were you allowing Canelo Alvarez onto you so easily? Where was the distance control? Where was the jab? Where was this punch from Callum Smith? Why was Callum so eager to stay on the ropes? It wasn't like Canelo was applying relentless pressure or cutting off a ring quickly. No, Canelo was just following Callum around and waiting for Callum to go on the ropes. He was waiting for Callum to do his work for him, basically. Callum made it easy for Canelo in this fight. There was a couple of occasions where Callum would actually use the jab. He would double it up or treble it up, and he was actually scoring with that punch. It wasn't hard or anything, but it kept Canelo occupied. First round, for example, Callum Smith's jab was relatively effective, But, he never utilised that punch throughout. He never kept his feet moving. It was a really, really strange performance from Callum Smith. He looked extremely tentative, and to me it looked like he didn't really want to be in there, that he was just there for the payday. That's how he fought to me. Just a real poor performance by Callum Smith. And I was very disappointed with it. I mean, to me, the worst thing to happen to Callum Smith, I questioned Callum Smith's ambition going into this fight. I think the worst thing to happen to Callum Smith was actually winning that World Boxing Super Series. I know that sounds strange, but, he won a lot of money in that tournament, and he won it extremely easily. Look at his run in that tournament. He fought Eric Skoglund, who's like a European-level fighter, Nicky Holskin, who's not even a real boxer, and a depleted George Groves. He had a real easy route in that tournament, and, he won a boatload of money for it. And I think winning that tournament with the financial reward that came with it, it kind of looks like that's kind of killed Callum Smith's hunger. After he won that tournament, he wasn't really willing to unify with any of the other champions like Caleb Plant or Billy Joe Saunders. It just looked like he was waiting for Canelo to call to get that big payday. To me, that was always the MO going into this fight. It wasn't winning the fight or becoming great or getting the WBC title, beating one of the best fighters in the world. To me, with Callum Smith, it was purely about securing the bag. And that's the impression I got going into this fight. And to me, the fight played out exactly how I thought it would do, where Callum Smith's not really doing much, not really giving Canelo much to think about, and Canelo basically has his way with him. That's exactly how the fight played out. And, Callum Smith was basically losing every single round for the most part. In the last 3-4 rounds, where was the urgency from Callum Smith? Fair enough, you can't throw power on your left hand, you can only throw a jab, but you've still got your right hand. Where was the desperation of Callum Smith trying to knock out Canelo or make something happen? It wasn't there. It wasn't there at all. As far as I'm concerned, Callum Smith laid an egg in there. He wasn't willing to go out on his shield and maybe get knocked out. We had this big conversation in the UK 2-3 weeks ago about Daniel Dubois quitting against Joe Joyce. Now, he definitely quit in that fight. However, what I will say is this: I felt the criticism was was a bit harsh on Daniel Dubois because as long as he was in there, he was trying to take Joe Joyce's head off. He was throwing the right hand with conviction, he was loading up, he was looking for the knockout. Yes, he got exposed physically, mentally and spiritually. His defence got exposed. His offence was kind of exposed as rather predictable. All of that is true, you know. Joe Joyce revealed a lot about Daniel Dubois, but one thing I will say, as long as Dubois was in there, he was trying to take off Joe Joyce's head. Yeah, he quit in the end due to a severe eye injury, which could be career-threatening. But, you know, as long as he was in there, he was trying. Now, Callum Smith, he never quit, he never took a knee, but was he ever doing anything other than trying to survive? I've seen a lot of people credit Callum Smith's bravery in this fight and how much punishment he took and whatnot. And yeah, he did take a lot of punishment, but did he ever try and get the knockout? Did he ever try and turn it around and go out on his shield? As far as I'm concerned, no. He fought to survive. Now, what is worse? Fighting to survive and giving yourself no chance to win, or going out like Daniel Dubois did where, yeah, he was exposed in a lot of ways, but, you know, as long as he was in there, he was trying to knock out Joe Joyce. And obviously it ended with how it ended, with Dubois taking a knee because of that eye injury. Yeah, Dubois, he quit. We saw he quit. And Dubois got slated, but surely what Callum Smith did wasn't all that much different. He basically gave himself no chance to win that fight. You know, he started to shell up, he started to hold late on, never went for the knockout, never tried to turn it around or anything like that. Surely that's the same as quitting. If you're giving yourself no chance to win in order to survive. Surely that's the same. If you're foregoing your chances of winning a fight merely to survive, is that not a quit? You tell me. Now again, I'm not as harsh on fighters quitting as a lot of people are. You know, if I feel you've given it your all and eventually it just becomes too much, like Daniel Dubois, like Anthony Joshua, again, that's controversial. I felt Anthony Joshua did kind of find a way out in that fight, but I don't blame him because he had the fight beat out of him. There was nothing left. If there's nothing left, I don't blame you per se. But with Callum Smith, to me, it just looked like he never really gave it a proper go, to be honest. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like he went there to make up the numbers. And, you know, I was saying that before the fight, that I felt that was a high possibility. And the fight I saw kind of matched up with my initial assessment, you know, and it was very disappointing. We all know Canelo Alvarez is much more skilled than Callum Smith. We get that. But where was the jab? Where was the urgency once you were behind in the fight? There was none of that. There was absolutely none of it from Callum Smith. To me, it looked like he was fighting in there just to survive, not to win the fight. Now again, the boxing public at large, they slate fighters for quitting in fights, right? No matter what the circumstances. Again, I'm not quite as harsh with it, but the general public, they slate fighters for quitting. Well, when you've got a high-level fight like this, and the champion in Callum Smith, the bigger, taller, stronger guy, when he fights to survive, surely that deserves the same amount of criticism. That's all I'm saying. But in the UK, for the most part, it's all, oh, how brave Callum Smith is. He done himself proud, blah, 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 blah. The same old stuff, you know, Billy the Brit, fucking everyone loves a loser kind of mentality. You know, I just weren't impressed with Callum Smith whatsoever in this fight. I just weren't impressed. But anyway, maybe you guys think I'm being harsh on Callum. Share your thoughts below. I want to hear your thoughts. Peace.